celebrate our traditions, our legacy, our students, and our graduates.
6 individuals: Stephen Taz Anderson, Sean Beals, Kathy Uliani Goods, Heather Hunt Jones, Coach Jade Nielsen, and Michael Joseph Byrne. Each made their Bengals team better, and today they join a very exclusive team, the ISU Sports Hall of Fame.
To be recognized for all hard work and good players that I've played with, it means a lot. Played in the Big Sky when it was really intense, some good football teams. Just to be a part of it, it's just amazing seeing players like Taz and Gino Mariani, Butch Caston. Haven't seen those guys in 30 years, so it's just amazing. To be honest, I went to the Dolphins right after Idaho State, and the transition was seamless. I think Coach Cutter's system offensively, I mentioned that earlier, it was very similar to the pro style of offenses. So I was the smallest school in camp, and no one knew my name. But by the end of the camp with the Dolphins, I was the only receiver that made that football team, and there was some really big receivers that came from big colleges. So I think that makes a big statement about the quality of football here at Idaho State.
I'm just elated. It truly caps a career that sometimes I never thought I would have. I'm thankful that Idaho State recruited me. I'm thankful for that I was given the opportunity to play. And the experiences, I'm just elated. There's nothing else I can really say. It's been a wonderful experience. Well, and, somebody said earlier how this defines your life. And that defined my life, winning a national championship as a freshman. There's not much else, you can really strive for within that team context. What are we going to do next year? Back-to-back national championships? Well, let's go for it. And that's what we strived for. We had great coaches. It's really an opportunity to think about those experiences, and just to be so thankful that you got to share in those experiences and how they really shaped and formed your life.
For me, it just brings back a lot of memories of the time I was here, and just the reflection of that and my teammates, and just a lot of pride. So to be back here where you did so much and you gave so much heart, I feel like that kind of comes back. Like this weekend, I feel like it's come back to me with my teammates, and I just have a lot of pride for this university. So yeah. In fact, I was talking to my husband just yesterday, and I said if I could have gone forward in time and looked back, one thing I would have done is probably been 100% all the time, given it even more. But that's just the person I am, and to give that back to the little community, the kids that I coach, is to just try to have them live in those moments and to be the very best they can be. Honestly, I believe it was the heart of the team. I feel like Gordon, he established that heart. He had heart and love for the soccer program, for the university, and that trickled down to all of us as players. And we often, like I said before, we went into games and we weren't supposed to win. We were the underdogs, and yet we came out on top. And I believe it was not because of skill or anything else, but it was our heart. And I feel like we represented Idaho State well because we had a huge heart and love for the game and for the university.
I'm overwhelmed. I don't. Sometimes I just don't feel deserving, but I've enjoyed my time, and I'm mostly overwhelmed by just seeing all the people and athletes that have come back, and pretty. Hope I'm not too much of this panel. I don't know but anyway, I just really appreciate this. It's a tremendous honor. Well, I believe in the program. I think we had a lot of different things that we could do. One of the things we didn't have here is money. We didn't have very much money, and I look around and stuff, and I've now been another Big Sky school. I see that the money isn't the same, But what we had is we had people that wanted to work hard, and they wanted to earn their spot. And I really liked that. And we had the ability to do some things that were creative. And one of them that we did was with the help of one of my triple jumpers, came up with a national ranking system for track and field, and that came out of here. And that was a collaborative effort, not just by some goofy coach or two, but by the athletes there too. So that was a pretty cool deal, But it seemed like we had to roll out of one thing after another that it was pretty fun. Well, I think I was hired initially as a head women's track and field coach here, and the funny story about that is that I was teaching a track class with the men's coach Jerry Quiller, and we were teaching a unit on the hammer. And at that time, in 1984, the women's hammer and weight throw weren't women's events. That was an obscurity, and the AD said, "Well, why are you teaching that? That's not a women's sport." I said, "Well, it should be," and that's how that got started. And then that kind of led into the pole vault, which I actually got a call from a buddy of mine from Iowa that said, "Hey, they're going to ban the boys pole vault in Iowa. What can we do about it?" I said, "I don't know of anything, but one of the things we were making a mistake with is we don't have women's pole vault." That's where Stacy came from, and she was just part of a group of 8 heptathletes that got to go out there and have a bit of fun with doing this goofy pole vault thing, and she got pretty good.
On this panel, I'm the non-athlete, but I have fond memories when I was at Idaho State, being the dorm manager for the men's dorms. And during that time, I was just so impressed with what it took to be a student athlete. It's unbelievable. And I stress that student because these people were students. They had to go to classes. They had to do papers. They had to work hard. And yet, many of them up at 5:30, going out, practicing, running, exercise. It's just, I have so much respect for the people at this table. And that carried through. And while I never was athletic, I think from my first days out of school, I wanted to support those people. And I'm so impressed, the other thing that just, you don't get to see a lot as a non-athlete, but I'm sitting between two coaches. What coaches do to help these kids, and they care about them, and they care about them not just as athletes, they care about them as people, and it's just so wonderful to see that happen. And I was an accountant by trade, and I understood that to run a good program, no matter if you're as frugal as Coach Mike says he was, and he was, you still need to have equipment. You still need to have a lot of things to make teams successful. And I've done a little bit to try to help that because it's so much fun. You go back and you follow sports at Idaho State for so many years, and you see these young people and you see them grow into just tremendous adults. And as an outsider looking in, it's just been a real honor, and a real honor to be with the people at our table.
So,
Being inducted into the Hall of Fame, not in the wildest dreams, but I did love athletics, and it's in the blood a little bit. My brother started his career here at Idaho State in administration, but he was athletic director at Oregon, Nebraska, and at Texas A&M, and he's the one that pinned this on me, so there's a little bit of that. My nephew, who was here, and he's my godson, was the athletic director now at the different schools. He's now at Alabama as the athletic director. But you ask both those two, they bleed the orange as much as I do too. Greg can remember going to the ball games here in the mini dome, and we really love ISU. It's such a tremendous institution.
Oh, yes. This honor, and it truly is an honor. To be honest, while I was playing, I was on a trajectory to grab all the records. And shortly after I graduated, I thought to myself, "Oh, you did that. That was great." So, but I never thought I'd be inducted into the Hall of Fame just because there are so many fine athletes that come through the program. And then as the years go by, and I hear that there's those records are still there, and then I hear that the game has completely changed. So truth be told, I'm glad I got in now because volleyball is so different now. It's not the same game. The things you could do on the court now, we didn't even know what a libero was at that point. And so different positions, different rules. So getting to this point and to be here with, in the presence of all of these tremendous athletes, what does it mean? You know, I'm wowed. I'm, you know, just like everyone else, I'm honored. I'm humbled. And I'm so appreciative, all the more so, of the time that I spent here in Pocatello. Let me tell you. So I do coach, and I tell my players, don't sleep the smaller school. That's what I tell them. I came out of a very strong class in high school, and they were going to all these other schools, and I didn't know anything about Pocatello, and I was worried, to be sure. And then to come here to find out what and how much goes into building the program. I mean, it wasn't just the coaches and my teammates and volleyball, but just the way Idaho State does this wrap around you. From this tiny little island in the ocean to come here to Pocatello and to experience and feel at home, it means so much to me. And to be honest, times are different now. And if they were that way when I was coming through, I don't know that I would have made the journey, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that I fell in love with Pocatello and Pocatello